You're welcome once again to the Polity. The Polity talks about trending topics, trending issues around the world, and it comes to you every day of the week from the Abuja station of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television. That's what you're more used to, Kaftan TV. That's a short form of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television. And it's my pleasure to welcome you once again to today's edition. And I trust that in the course of this, there will be education, there will be enlightenment, there probably will be some humor, there will be something to lift up and spice your day. And so you better invite your friends, invite your neighbors to log into Kaftan TV so we can all do this together. In the course of time, we will allow you, if you're interested, to call in so you can have your way in on the topic that we're about to talk about. My name is Dayo Omogun, and just before I bring in my guests, we will be talking about PMS and diesel. I do not know, but I'm sure that experts in the field, someone like one of the guests that I have, will be able to shed light on the intervention, if you like, that Dangote Petroleum is set to bring on board. And news has it that from August, Dangote will be bringing in, will be distributing PMS and diesel around the nationwide. And for some people, that's cherry news. For some people, they're just, it's neither here nor there, because we have seen all kinds of interventions before. That's what happens when trust is lost, when it looks as if policies never get properly implemented. So every new one you announce is taken with a pinch of salt. But on this show, we will be looking at very deeply at what that means for Nigerians, what that means for Nigerian economy, what that means for the sector. And so I would like you to be, because whatever happens to PMS in Nigeria affects every Nigerian, and also has the effect of impacting all other sectors. Even the man on the street believes that the reason we have skyrocketing prices, inflation, incurable inflation, is basically as a result of the hike in the price of PMS. That's for ordinary citizens. And then for the industrial citizens, corporate citizens, they know that diesel is a very important part of their production matrix. And so anything that affects any of these two, so for example, the corporate people, the industrial people are affected both ways, for PMS and for diesel. So it can be very telling, and so that's what we intend to look at. Dangote to distribute PMS, diesel nationwide. That's from August, and then they're even looking for people to be part of the process. And some people, like I said, are very excited about it. So at this point, I guess I'll just bring in my guests. And to my far right, I have Professor Ken Ife.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Professor Ken Ife is a development economist, a consultant to so many international bodies. It's an egghead. I believe all the time that he knows what he's talking about, and I believe so much in whatsoever he says. And over time, having had him on a number of occasions here, it looks as if his interventions actually come out right. Sometimes they come out like coldly, like insensitive to the average Nigerian. But he's an economist, and he sees, maybe he talks more in the macro sense, and the average man on the street is saying, but my pocket is empty, I'm still hungry. I still can't afford school fees for my children, and so on and so forth. So he will be a major part of this program this afternoon. I also have with me Chukwunalu, AK, and he is a public affairs analyst, and he is joining us also. And so from this point, let's go to my guests. So Prof, I welcome you once again.
Thank you.
Right. Now, before we get into the real thing, have you heard about the people being picked up by EFCC because of fraud in the House of Petroleum? I mean, if you like, I mean the NNPC and all that. I'm sure you've heard that.
I'm not sure I've got to that particular detail, but I do know that the House of Assembly, the National Assembly, they're asking for explanation on 210 trillion naira.
Trillion
Naira black hole in the NNPC account.
210 trillion naira.
Trillion, not billion.
Not billion.
210 trillion naira and black hole in their accounts, and questions are being asked. So I don't know whether it's connected to the arrest.
Most probably connected, because the former head of the NNPC is it Warrior Port Harcourt, was just recently arrested, and I think one other official or something like that was also arrested. And so does that not give an idea of some of the problems that have boxed us into the hole that we are?
You're right. In fact, to be honest with you, what we have seen in the industry in relation to measures being taken now by Dangote is that industry will have a history of misalignments and inconsistency and fraud and how would we describe it? In the fuel supply, transport, storage, distribution and logistics. That subsector has been a cause of so much problem and pain to the 230 million Nigerians and the 42 million MSMEs in our country. And so, so what you have seen coming forward is a very innovative and very catalytic option being offered to bring us back and then clear up all that mess. I mean, NNPC is always in the middle of all of this.
Exactly.
You know, since 1965, when we got oil, it has been them playing, and to the point that it was between them and IOCs. The people in the Niger Delta complained they're not breathing good air, they're not having water to drink, they're having pollution of all their waters and their land, all of those woes. And then we came up to before the PIA, 20 years of fighting to get PIA in. But before we got to PIA, we had a free-for-all import of fuel, refined products. And then we saw hell because it was so heavily abused. There were some trailers, the tankers that will come with 30 million liters, and then they will discharge 10, go to Ghana, come back 10. By the time they leave, they get recorded 90 million liters. So much that EFCC waded into all of that, and people did not deny.
Is what is behind the subsidy.
That was, yeah, that people did not deny. But the fact of the matter is that that thing transited to the PIA, and then also NNPC was now told to be the sole exporter of crude and sole importer of PMS. All right? Okay. Now, you know, when you refine crude, so what they did was they now had what they call trade by barter. They did a swap. And then when you do crude swap, you are denying central bank the $3 billion that passes through central bank every month. So central bank, in fact, they were at the bottom of the problem that central bank had for all these 15 years. So they are starved of fund. In fact, when they cried and cried, they started giving them only 10%, $300 million. But the fact of the matter is this: not only that they had that monopoly only PMS comes back from the crude that they send out.
Exactly. I was going to.
You can get more than 20 products.
That. Yes.
From crude.
I really want us to interrogate that.
Then when that PMS comes back, because they are the sole monopoly, they turn around and say to government, "You're owing me. You're owing me. I have under recovery. Go and borrow 500 billion naira every month
to pay us
for subsidy." And then you have another arm, which is the petroleum equalization, that was supposed to take around 10-15 naira for transportation and all that stuff, and then pay subsidy. And that one was even worse, because the people that, first of all, the PIA has killed that petroleum equalization, because you know 4 were merged. Equalization, PPF, and then upstream and downstream and midstream departments of the DPR. They were all merged together, but that one was effectively killed, and it's still owing those people. So
up to the point where it was existing.
That's right. So I'm still owing. So the fact of the matter is that there are so many discrepancies that are accounted for all that thing that they are doing. You know, we consume about over 30 million liters. But what is recorded is about 60, 65, 70, nobody knows anymore. And because there's a bogus claim, then it also gets reflected on compensation that have to be paid subsidy. So anyway, but how did we know that there's a difference between the two? When we shut down the borders, the fuel went down by 30%. And countries across the region were all crying.
The fuel,
Ghana, the fuel consumption went down by over 30%. Then the countries, all the countries in the western coast, up to Senegal, Ghana, Togo, all of them started crying. Prices went up of their fuel.
Their own
telling you that there was a subsidy going on. Do you understand? Now, the fact then, so what that happens is that Dangote said, okay, last December, you know, before you launch a national project, people always ask you, where's your pilot? Where's your pilot? So in December last year, they did a pilot by saying, okay, we're going to sell our price at the same, our fuel at the same price all over the country. And then he had to absorb the cost of transporting them. That is the equalization.
Okay.
That equalization cost him over 10 billion naira. Nobody ever appreciated that he funded that. And that was effectively a transfer of subsidy from public sector to private sector. And that's what it should be. Because competition will bring private sector to bear that subsidy and then pass down prices, and we have a vibrant economy and it's open and innovative. That's what we should be. So based on that, and then notice that we didn't have any fuel queue. We didn't have any price this hike. And secondly, for the first time in 10 years, the price of food went down in December. That is the cyclical peak of inflation, but it went down. So the evidences were there. So he now said, okay, why are people suffering? Now let's look at the price stack. The price. The petrol is taken at his gantry at 825 naira. So 825 naira is the price for all the people in that value chain. Who are in the value chain? Those who did the prospecting and this thing are number one, they get something.
Okay.
Then who drilled the crude, and then who transported the crude to the refinery, now who refined. So these are the things that make up
the transporter bring it back.
That's what would make 825. But now, from selling to from 825, you should have expected like 30, 40 naira extra for retail. No, these guys are taking 1,200, 1,050, and come on, you see 200 to 300 naira being added. The people for doing what? Just for having it in your petrol station. So, the people who are actually spending the money, investing their money, gets so little, and that middleman that takes the whole of the money, and they can't control them. You understand? So that is at the heart of the challenge. So that one left is okay. Let me move this fuel to the point of need, and then see whether we can, and then they will take it there, and then they sell it at the price you are going to maintain.
That's the new intervention they're about to embark on.
That is the intention is doing. And now, what does it mean? What does it mean to 230 million Nigerians? They don't have savings.
No, Prof, we'll get there.
All right,
we'll get there. Let me ask Chukwunalu, right?
Yes.
Now, amidst all of this, we had some respite. We were hopeful that it looks as if the price of petroleum was gradually crashing, which was good news. Even though some people said the percentage crash was little or nothing, but I said on several occasions that if we are consistent with that reduction, in the next 6 months or 10 months, it will amount to much. Because if you keep removing 10 naira or 20 naira every month, before you know it, you would have removed 100 naira. And that should matter. Because if you were buying at 900 and you now buy it at 800, and the crash continues, then there is hope that you will soon get down to like 700, maybe 600, maybe 500. That was the hope. But suddenly, in the week, is it in the week or last week, we suddenly heard that NNPC and the marketers have hiked prices. Where does that leave us? Where does that leave us?
Well, thank you, sir, for that question. Like when Prof was talking, he mentioned something about the price, the cover, 800 and something naira, and that covers the area of 825. The processing, the prospecting, processing, transportation, logistic, and I think Nigerians should understand one thing about the cost of doing business, cost of getting that goods. The Nigerians' economy, petroleum industry is dominated by dollars, and anything that we are doing, dollar will determine that price. In Nigeria, I'm not saying where the rate, the price of fuel will go down to 600 naira.
Right now, you don't foresee it.
Yeah,
even in a year's time.
I'm not saying that.
Even in a year's time.
Yes, even just simple strike, Israel, Iran, as the price was going up. I think that was what prompted NNPC and the independent marketers to increase their rate. And so I'm not saying that, because even the logistic here in Nigeria is dollar dominated. Like
what do you mean?
What, like shipping.
Okay.
Shipping is just small. Even if you are doing any contract in NNPC or any oil company, is dollar dominated. You won't see naira, local contractors quoting in naira. You understand me, sir? So I'm not seeing that happening. So and NNPC increasing that, I think it's as a result of Iran-Israel strike.
All right.
And the price, I think as at Monday, it's close to about $80 per barrel, and they were actually moving to 150. And had even that, if not for the peace deal that happened yesterday also, maybe we would have been looking at 150. But the advantage we would have gotten is Dangote. If that's naira for crude, I don't know if that policy is still on.
I think that policy has been scrapped.
It is. No, it's on. It's
okay,
back on.
Okay, yes, they scrapped it, but they reinstated it. Okay.
Yes, okay, so if that policy is still on, I think it will be okay for us. But for NNPC now to increase their rates based on what is happening in something that we are having in Nigeria, for me as a Nigerian, is a no-no.
All right, let me ask you. You talked about cost of production.
Yes, sir.
And you talked about transportation, you talked about all those logistics and everything. Does cost of production not also include earnings, salaries and wages? Does it not?
It's part of it.
It's part of it.
Yes, it's part of
so when all these are taken care of, and the human part, the human aspect is not taken care of, how do you enlist their understanding? I think that's the challenge. Now, they may want to understand, like you have said, as you have advocated, they may want to understand that, well, business is based on separating your cost of production from whatever, adding a markup in order to make a profit.
Yes.
Good. Now, what if in that space, nothing is being done for workers? We just saw that last year, we had a 70,000 naira raise.
Not for oil workers.
No, I know. It doesn't have to be for oil workers. What I'm talking about has to trickle down to everybody in society. If you still find people who are paid 70,000 naira, you definitely don't want them to leave. No, you definitely are not thinking of them living a life. 70,000 naira. Because this is 70,000 naira that our elites spend times 3 of that at a lunch.
Sure.
And so, how do you now? I think that some people have said that Nigerian leaders must have some emotion, must have some empathy for us to have the right kind of leaders that we deserve. So let me leave it there for now. So I'm saying that the cost of production, if we're talking about cost of production, we must find a way by which the ordinary Nigerian can also earn better, so that when these prices go up, they are also able to fall in line. They are also able to afford their basics.
Let me explain to you on that particular point. NNPC has consumed over $10 billion in the last 10 years, purportedly repairing the refineries. In the last 2 years, they took 3.5 billion because they went and securitized our crude and gas to rapidly repair the 2 refineries that they say are working. They are not working. They're just producing naphtha. So NNPC is not actually producing diesel, PMS. They are importing PMS. And if you are importing it, you have to factor into it not just the international price of the fuel, but the transportation cost of bringing it down here. So if they are reacting to the additional cost they imposed on themselves. Are you with me?
Right.
But the devil is
additional costs they imposed on themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, I will, because
transportation costs and then importing fuel that was refined outside. But that is not my concern. My concern is that they are violating the PIA law. The PIA law says, let me explain the law. The law says the midterm and the midstream and downstream PRA should gauge the production local refining capacities in the country. They should monitor it regularly. Then they will inform any PRC, the upstream. Then upstream will issue instructions or schedule to the people who are drilling the oil to make sure that they satisfy local demand for refining before exporting. And you could see that last week they took action by issuing UIAP or something like that, unique identification number, UIN, so that you can't move any crude away until they approve it and they allocate, something like that.
Okay.
So they're taking action. The second thing about that is that they will now use that information to ascertain whether we have sufficiency of local production of fuel. If there's a deficit, then they can now issue license for importation. Okay. They didn't do that. They simply issued license to import 200 million liters of petrol.
In spite of the provision of the PIA.
Yeah. Then the CIA still went further to say, if you do import, these stakeholders must come with it. You can verify the quality of that imported product. They're not interested. Up until now, NNPC does not have an internationally recognized laboratory for ascertaining the quality that they comply. And neither is the midstream and downstream. They don't have. One of them they don't have. But DANGOTE has. So what prevents you from taking the samples? When I go there, I go check the thing. If it is okay, fine. But if it's not okay, and it is not okay, it is not okay because January 30th was the deadline for ECOWAS limit on sulfur. Our limit is 50, I'm from ECOWAS, 50 ppm, 50 parts per million of sulfur. And sulfur is not the only thing that is checked. And what they imported was many times more than that.
Many times more than the limit.
They also check for pour point, flash point, density, specific gravity, octane number, sulfur content. There are about 11 of them. So they didn't take anything. So they are dumping this. Remember, there was a time we had excess ethanol.
Yeah.
Which should be maximum of 10%, E10. You had a lot of it. You only find this out. They only found that out when they started knocking some engines and all that problem.
Yeah.
But this is systematic. That's what the law says. They're not doing that. So what exactly you are doing there? You are dumping substandard fuel that will not be accepted by the country where they are refining it, but are convenient to dump it here.
Those are still signs of the corruption that's happening there.
That's right. You can't tell me about competition when you're not comparing like to like. Here is backward integration. This one is import dependence, perpetuating import dependence and poisoning people's cars, people's engine, and all those. It's all
and poisoning the environment.
And the environment. And then you also have an offer that helps. When you look at the two people, I want you to keep on looking and don't remove your eyes from the 230 million Nigerians that we are worried about what they are benefiting.
Yeah.
And then don't remove your eyes from the 42 million MSMEs in Nigeria.
Exactly.
48% of Africa, 90 million MSMEs. These are the people that are burning fuel every day in their generator, in anything they are doing in their car, transport system. 70% of their cost is connected to all of this.
Exactly.
And they can't breathe. They can't breathe because somebody is making life hell for them. Look at hospitals, telecom companies with their thousands of base stations all over the country. Is it airports? They need fuel. They have to run mission critical 24/7 power supply. And then some of these people know when they can get fuel, the price that they will get them, everything is in the air. Sometimes you sit in the airport and the light goes off. I mean, this is what we're facing in this country. And why? Because of the greed of a small number of people that just don't want to open their eyes. It is that appetite was fed by corruption, and it was fed by what you call monopoly. Because if you talk about monopoly, the first monopoly is NNPC. Because they are upstream, midstream, and downstream. I don't know what they're doing in downstream. You sell off all those petrol stations, and they sell off the midstream refinery. The second monopoly is these oil marketers that has held the country to ransom and making people suffer for nothing. DANGOTE is only in midstream. He doesn't own a network of petrol stations. Why are people crying? He just wants to deliver this thing to you so that there could be business continuity. All the dead petrol stations can close down so that can come back to life. It's a lifeline. He just said, this is an opportunity for you to come back to business. And the other people are saying, that it is going to shut down our petrol station. Shut down what? When he said it's an opportunity for you. And then you are saying that, and by the way, 2/3 of the retailers have actually gone in to do business. You saw when this independent petroleum marketers, Ipman, that they say they're happy. They like it. It's good business for them. And then you still have a handful that are fighting. Go and stand in front of a moving train, and then you tell me whether it's not going to crush.
All right, I think we should go on a break. I'm sure if you're watching, this is quite, you have a load of knowledge being dumped, if you like, the way they are dumping substance. But this is positive dumping. I mean, being loaded on you from the Prof, from my other guest, Chukwunalu. And so when we get back, we'll make progress on this line of talk. Welcome back to The Policy, coming to you live from the Abuja studio of Kaftan TV. Most of you know it as Kaftan TV, but it's good to always let you know that Kaftan TV stands for King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television. And we've been talking about the Dangote plan to distribute fuel and PMS, diesel from the month of August. And that could just be, it could just bring a sigh of relief if it goes well. But I still have Prof. Ken Ife here, and I still have Chukwunalu Eke here, and we will be digging deeper. We will be digging deeper. And I've pleaded with the Prof to please separate, break down, because for some people who are watching, that might just be some petroleum sector jargon. When you talk about upstream, midstream, bottom stream, inside ocean, inside ocean stream, on top of the sky stream. So these three major streams, what is their role, and how do they really link up together? I mean, I know that there is somebody who would like to know.
Okay, the upstream are actually those who do the prospecting, look around for the fuel, then do some sample drilling and then confirm the volume and all of that. Then you now have people who come to do the drilling, to bring out the crude or to bring out the gas. Now those are upstream. Then the link between the upstream and midstream is the transporter that transport the gas or the crude to where they are going to be processed and refined. Okay, so in that midstream, you have refineries, you have petrochemicals, you have all those activities that are called midstream. Then another link between midstream and downstream is still transport system. That it could be, those transport system can be pipes or pipelines. It could be trucks. It could be railway. It could be anything.
All that is still midstream.
Yes, transporting the refined products to the people who actually sell them in the petrol stations. So the downstream are those who are actually retailing the product, holding these wholesalers that are holding stock of it and then issuing it. Those who own tank farms are in the downstream, holding them, distributing it or exporting it from there to the last mile.
I'm sure that has done quite a great deal of fog clearing for many of my viewers. I'm sure many of them are thankful for that breakdown, so that we don't talk above our audience. Of course, there are millions who are professionals who are in that sector who understand, but there are more millions who probably don't get what all that stands for. And two things I think I need to take from what you have said. You said that the PIA has certain provisions that are not being followed.
Fully implemented.
Not be fully implemented. Now, if this is so, should we fold our arms and continue to lament, or what can be done to ensure that, you see, that's how we have the right policies, but they never get implemented. So, what should be done? You want to take that? Yes, go ahead, Chukwunalu. Yes. What should be done to ensure that the proper thing is done, as espoused in the PIA?
I think what should be done is the law should take its course. If the law says bring A, B, C, D, and you bring A, D, E, we go back to the law. Okay, why is B not there?
Why is C not there?
Why is C not there? Who is responsible? Why did you bring this? Who signed this? Because I believe before this could come in, there must be a paper, black and white, written, signed. Why? Who signed this? Who? Then from there, you get the person arrested. Take the person to court according to what the law says. But when we are doing things in such a way that there is one powerful man somewhere, more powerful than Nigeria, we will continue in this mess. When NNPC is bigger than Nigeria, we will continue.
Which is what we currently face.
During President Jonathan, we heard about $20 billion missing.
Exactly.
Under Buhari, we heard about a certain amount of money missing. And here, we are hearing that EFCC arrested somebody over 1.something billions in dollars missing. From where?
In dollars. Billions in dollars, yes.
That means something is actually wrong in the system. So if the police, because the police is the constitutional body that's supposed to do investigation, apart from EFCC doing their job, because as far as I'm concerned, EFCC is supposed to be part of police. You know, yes, that is, to me, my opinion. EFCC is supposed to be part of police, because when I was growing up, I know that there was a fraud unit under police, and they do their investigation and they get people arrested. And but today, who is that policeman that will go to the top official of NNPC? Say, you know, according to the you are arrested because of this. Even the
maybe they've not gotten a report, they've not gotten a petition to that.
So they say, but why can you say 1.5 billion missing in an economy, and there is no trace, there is no link, there is no alert? And these are the monies you can put in a bag. In your bag and move away like that. Even if you are moving in, you are taking it in cash, raw cash. Even the plane or whatever, you feel the impact. It's going to be up to 50 kg, if not more than. So you feel the impact, and if you are not a weightlifter, you won't be able to.
So there should be some bank trail that can be followed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's easy to really want to.
It's very, very, even the crude oil, as you are transporting, there should be a meter that gauge, that measure how many were produced, how many is being taken out. You get my point, sir? So from there, you'll be able to check fraud in the system. If we are not doing that, we are going nowhere. It's just like we are dancing around, we are just dancing around until we begin to punish people for stealing our product, for stealing our wealth. If we are not punishing anybody, nothing is going to happen.
I think I agree with you entirely. Somebody came here some time ago and said the problem we're having is that we're a nation of no consequences. Whatever you do, you tend to get away with it. They may make some noise, there may be some frenzy at the beginning, but before you know it, it's all lost, it's all forgotten. Several cases. So these are part of the things, these are part of the reasons why Nigerians, find it difficult to have trust in government. That's why there's such trust deficit when it comes to the relationship between government and the governed. And until something is done to close this gap by actually taking action, appropriate action, like you said, then we will just keep turning around in a cycle. And that's very unfortunate. That's really very unfortunate. I see that some of you have started to try to call in, and I think that we are ready to begin to receive your calls. It's 08029938365. But before your call comes in, let me quickly go to Prof. Now, Prof. Now, we have we have good news coming that Dangote will be distributing fuel. But you did say something. Dangote is not in the
downstream.
Doesn't have a network of petrol stations. Now, so it's going to be an arrangement between them and other parties. If these other parties refuse to take the fuel, what happens?
He's not forcing anybody to take his fuel. In fact, to be honest with you, Dangote does not even need to sell fuel to Nigeria.
We do know that.
Because he's in the free trade zone. Secondly, according to the PIA, he should be getting 560,000 liters of fuel of barrels a day. He's only getting 70,000 crude. He's only getting 70,000, which is much less
against 560.
I'm telling you the truth.
Wow.
So he is importing diesel, crude from America, from all kinds of places
to come and refine here,
and then come and give you. Why would he do that? He only doing this because you have a policy of naira to crude, which at least it helps things a little bit. But he's not getting a good full load. He's not getting full, and yet we are doing 1.4 million barrels per day. This guy is going to only about 70,000. So what is that? Somebody is not doing his work. Begin from the midstream man. Is that midstream regulator that is causing all the problem, because the midstream is who advises the NEPRC. And then it is that same midstream that is pointing accusing fingers and stirring up that it is anti-competitiveness and the monopoly and all that stuff. And that is the area that needs to be cleaned up. And it's the same midstream that is issuing licenses to import products that are adulterated and doesn't have the facility to measure, to check. Then if it doesn't have, and they don't want to use the one that Dangote has. It's called confusion. It's caused by that midstream regulator, and it's a regulator. So things are not going well. They just have to be visited. And now NNPC has been cleaned up. Look at the quality of the people manning NNPC now, first class. Upstream guy, Kumalefa and the other, they know what they're doing. Look at the directive they're issuing. But these other guys, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know which side they are on. But definitely not on the side of the country, of the non-Nigerians.
What you're hinting at is sabotage.
And it's the same groups that we are causing all this problem with the NNPC that are still operating. And the NNPC is being sanitized. But them, they're still there.
Yeah, so what you're suggesting is that they're sabotaging the system.
That is the middle name of what is going on.
All right. So, should we, can't we be intentional? Can't we be decisive about
the president? President is the Minister of Petroleum.
Exactly.
It's his decision. But he knows that people are suffering.
Well,
and that was why he visited Dangote to see for himself. The president should go and visit these two refineries that they poured extra 3.5 billion naira
into.
Let him go and visit them. Let him go and see, ask them to show him what they use that money to do. That's the beginning of wisdom. Let the president visit them, so that the country will know what exactly is going on, and the president will see for himself. You know, the president appreciates what Dangote is doing. He visited him, and he was okay because this guy has poured in. You know, Nigeria has a commitment under the Global Warming Initiative that our national contribution, determined contribution, NDC, involves that we are going to use a transition fuel, which is gas, for the next 30 years as part of our trajectory to zero carbon future. And now the president is, do you know that the president, half of the money that he was saving from subsidy was trapped by NNPC in that their inefficiency and all that stuff they are doing. Only half was available to the president, and then he gave a bulk of it to governors to increase their receipt from 700 billion a month to 1.7 billion a month.
Which is more than 100%.
Yeah, much more than 100%. But then the remaining one is doing palliative, buying fertilizer, giving. This guy he doesn't have all the money. If he has all the money, he'll be releasing. I don't even think they've released a penny of capital expenditure for this 2025 budget. We are still funding 2024 budget. And here the money is trapped there in iniquity and inequality and what limits in corruption. So we need to open up this space, and you now have a Nigerian, somebody that invested $20 billion of his own money, and government put $1 billion there as a stakeholder, and somebody there in the midstream is still poking his hand to people that invested that kind of money. The president should give them, all of them, modular refineries license. Let them go and set up their own modular refineries. That's the only thing the answer to it. Let them go and be businessmen and get out somebody else who go and run this place. And then all these 5 major oil marketers, each one of them can start a modular refinery. And that's what they should do. Start your own modular refinery, send your refined product to your tank farm, and from there you export. Yes. Who told you cannot export? You can export and earn dollar. Then if you want to supply to your distribution network, we can supply to them. And secondly, Dangote did not say that these trucks cannot come and take fuel from my gantry. He didn't say that too.
From where?
From his gantry. You know,
okay.
He hasn't banned any of them.
Other marketers.
Yes, so he didn't ban them. So they are saying that, all of them will go bankrupt. They will go. No, you can go. But when you go and use your truck to bring it there, you can count your cost and see whether it's cheaper for you to use the one brought to you or to go and pay. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Secondly, you can actually use your trucks to do last mile delivery. I mean, abroad, you know, in UK, in Germany, in America, everywhere, 42 million people are working. Companies waiting for fuel. Every company needs fuel for a generator or for his car, for this, that. They use those tankers to go and supply to people in the construction sites, in the highway sites. That's what you use them to go and do, to fulfill the last mile. Don't tell me anybody is going to go out of business. They're not going to go out of business. Do you understand? They now provide service. Do you know, my factory in my village, for me to get fuel, because the local petrol stations in the village have all shut down, we have to carry jerry can in motorcycle to drive 20 kilometers to go and buy fuel. Look at that kind of risk. That's what you do to man big, huge generators. You know, it doesn't make sense. So we want to open up this space to bring the efficiency, reduce the cost to household, reduce the cost to MSMEs, bring steady supply, make it affordable and accessible, and then bring down inflation. That is the way to knock inflation.
All right. So we're saying, I really, because I really wanted to get clarification on that, if he doesn't have his own network of, so how does he intend to push his products? But that's what you said. I mean, it's cheaper for the receiving fuel stations, and so that should be the way to go. That's fair enough, if you ask me.
Sorry, sir. He also gave credit facilities to fuel stations.
Yes, if you buy 500,000 liters, the next 500 he gives you 2 weeks credit.
2 weeks credit. So
and this is a lot of money.
That's it.
Go and look at microfinance bank that charging 6% a month.
And it's also zero cost to zero
and
cost
then
to
he also is doing CNG data booster stations. Some of those may even benefit. You know, some of them may qualify to have a booster station, so that all these CNG tankers will come and refill. And imagine giving them more business, and then making sure you make the whole country environmentally sustainable. See how many tankers collapse on the streets. Some of them don't have brakes. Some of them don't. I mean, look at their state, and look at how many people get killed when they carry bucket to go and collect fuel. I mean, you know, and the other thing is this: then I decide to, okay, you know, there are 3 jobs for the midstream people. Job number 1: can you, for goodness sake, establish the quantity of fuel being consumed in Nigeria?
Yeah.
That is the fact, and they have not done it.
That is a mystery.
Now, I told you that when we shut down the borders, we were able to get an idea.
Yes.
Then they can equip all these tankers with satellite tracker and then geofencing. So if you are going to come from Lagos, if you go away from that route, alarm will go. If you get to the border, any border, alarm will go. So in that way, within a month or 2, you will know the consumption in this country. Then they with me, so that this whole school called subsidy and all this whole nonsense going on will stop. Number 3, they're supposed to gauge the volume of what is being processed and produced, and then advise the NEPIC, and then advise. If they're not doing that, if they are doing that, why is this guy receiving only
70 instead of 560?
70,000 instead of 560. Why is he receiving that? You know, it's the data that you feed. So that's why the NEPIC is getting more proactive.
Right.
All right. He's saying, look, you know, whatever it is, you're not going to move any crude away until I say what it is you are going to move, as I give you the license to move.
All right. Let's take this first caller.
Hello. Good afternoon.
You're welcome to the polity.
I'm fortunate to get you today.
Oh, really? Congratulations.
I'm a regular caller.
Okay.
Usman Garba Samtaraki from Yola, Adamawa State.
All right, Santuraki. You're welcome.
On the issue of your discussion,
yeah,
I don't think what DANGOTE is trying to do is sort of will bring to the end or reduce the price of PMS. In other words, what DANGOTE is trying to do is sort of monopoly. Because if the government or the independent marketers allow this to go, it means that DANGOTE is the sole person that will distribute fuel in this country. And it's a slap on the face of the government. If government cannot run refineries so well, I was imagining, I will speak my imagination or my thinking, how could an individual be capable of making things possible in Nigeria? Nigeria is a laughing stock. We have about 4 or 5 refineries, all non-existent. It more or less becomes a contact point, while public funds is being siphoned. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that the distribution of petroleum products nationwide by DANGOTE cannot go anywhere. Rather, it is just a monopoly. Serious. Thank you very much.
All right. Can I engage you a little?
Yes, sir. I'm hearing.
All right. Now, if you say that it's a monopoly, yeah, I believe that government has made the field open for other people who want to engage in refining products, and if they do not take up the option, apparently because they do their plus and minus and feel that it's not too good for them, how can that be the fault of DANGOTE?
But not that what I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not blaming DANGOTE per se. What I'm trying to say is a sort of monopoly. Nigeria is a country point for others who are making the country try. So I'm not a player, but what I'm trying to you to understand now is that allowing Dangote to do this is a more or less it's just like he's the only person. Because even the NFDC cannot be in position to even refine petrol, PMS and salt to Nigeria.
All right.
Let me define monopoly for you.
Thank you very much.
Well, my guest will respond to that, and I crave the indulgence of the Prof to weigh in on that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to define monopoly for me.
That's the Santuraki.
Yes. What percentage of the market share that is monopoly, and what segment? We're talking about 3 segments here. You have the upstream, that is not subject to question because it's not there that much. Then you have the midstream, which is where Dangote is just representing one refining process. But you have NNPC has 4 refineries, 2 are working. You can't have monopoly of refining when NNPC has 2. Then you have about 3 modular refineries, and the gigantic one is also coming up in Ogun State. So I can't see where that monopoly is in the midstream. Then there's also importation of products going on too. Now you come to the downstream. Dangote is not there owning a network of 1,000 stations. He can start 4,000 stations and give them 4,000 trucks. But that's not what he's not there. So I don't know what monopoly you are talking about because he's not on the downstream. And downstream is where he's just helping to move his product. He is a player in the midstream. If you have pipeline working, he could have been pumping the thing from Lekki to different. They have 22 depots, but they are not working. They're blown away. If they were working, he could be pumping till that people just go and take it to the from their nearest.
Which would be a lot cheaper.
Which should have been cheaper. Yes, that's the cheapest way. Secondly, if the trains were working, you could have just put them in the train and then they go to the nearest train station and collect your fuel. But you can see the problem. We don't have the Parakot Meduguri line working. We don't have the Lagos Kanu line working. We just have halfway. So we don't. So the only option left to him is to use truck. And even as he's using truck, he avoided using diesel truck and then went to CNG, which helps the implementation of our environmental commitment. So why is it he's not selling it? He's just delivering it to his people that are going to the people that are going to sell, and he's not forcing everybody. Like, no, government did not make a law saying that everybody must buy from them. There's no such law. And then some of the people that are competing with him are importing their products. Some are using the ones that the refiners or other refiners are producing, plus what NNPC supplies to them, however they get it. So I don't know where the monopoly comes in. That's why I was going to ask you to define monopoly and tell me percentages and in which segment.
So I think he is coming from previous businesses of Dangote, maybe from the cement angle and the sugar angle. Yes, I used to think like him before, but when I saw what Dangote is doing regarding this fuel PMS and diesel issue in Nigeria, I don't think he's going to have monopoly in Nigeria, because even if you go to Delta states, for example, I think I've seen some people that were given modular refinery licenses that they're working.
And even in Imo State.
Yes, so I'm not saying, because if, like, for example, in Kwale, where that modular refinery, if it starts working, I'm sure the first station around that angle, Benin, part of Warri, Port Harcourt, we don't go to Lagos to get fuel from Dangote. They will get it from maybe, let's say,
and then Smith is doing in Imo State.
In Imo State. So if the modular refinery in Kwale is working, the one, I think there is a license in Imo, there is a license in Akwa Ibom. If all these are working, I'm not saying where Dangote is going to have that monopoly that people are.
And if Kaduna is working,
and Kaduna is,
then you have Warri and refinery.
Those ones should be sold, and they should just remove the whole thing and bring new one, just as Dangote did. But I'm not seeing any Kaduna refinery working so soon. Since '98, when President Obasanjo has been there, we've been hearing turnaround maintenance, doing this or that on Kaduna, Warri. If you go to River State, you will see the lightning, everything will be on, and nothing is coming out. So I'm not seeing anything coming out from those refineries that Nigeria, that we read in social studies, working. The only thing I think we should do, remove the whole thing, onboarding it, sell it to Babambolas, then bring in new things, new technologies, and
they should sell it to
Babambola. They know what to do with it. I'm not saying that anything working for them, because we'll be hearing about.
All right, my guess is sell the refineries to Babambola. You know who Babambola is? Prof, you know who Babambola is?
I don't.
Okay, after this call. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
You're welcome to the show.
I'm calling you from Niger.
And what's your name?
I'm calling you from Niger.
What's your name?
My name is Mohammed Rahingora.
Rafi?
Mohammed Abdullah Rahingora.
Rahingora, okay. Go on.
Yes. My contribution that I want to make that is there. You see, some of the crowd folk is saying, some of the problem that is here, you see our leaders, once they give contracts of this particular refinery, they don't use to go and see what they have been given. If the refinery is working, they know. If the refinery is not working, they will know. But the point is that our leaders will remain in their distance. I see no reason why somebody is blaming Dangote. Dangote brings something that for our own future, we Nigerians. So that is at least it's a reasonable thing that Dangote has done for us. It's a blessing to us, all Nigerians. If you can establish his own refinery, there is no any problem. You shouldn't be blaming Dangote. According to what he's saying. Because he's trying to blame Dangote. You should know what he's saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rahingora. Thank you, Rahingora. Well, that's 1-1. If you feel like that's 1 for Dangote, 1 against Dangote. But I think that all this requires light. Once light comes in, every form of darkness will definitely disappear. And I'm so excited about what's being done in the studio right now. And I encourage you to please stay tuned and also invite others. And I think that we need to get a breath of, a breather. And when we get back, we'll be taking the closing segment. All right, welcome back. And this is still the polity, and this is the last segment, the closing segment. And I'll quickly allow this caller to have his, his contribution. Yes, hello.
Yes, I've already seen your discussion today.
Okay.
But through television, I'm living Lagos now. Can you send this thing from your phone number? Can I talk to you?
Okay, I'll have to do that after the program.
Okay. But where are you living now, you?
We'll talk about that when we're through.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, so I thought that was a caller who was interested in what. Okay, he said he has been watching. Yeah. It could be someone who knows me personally and is wondering, Yeah, so let's go to this other. All right. Hello. Hello. You're welcome to Kaftan TV. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr.
You're welcome.
This is Awusko from Kaduna.
Oh, Awusko. I'm in love with that your name. Awusko.
Yeah, you really remind me. I'm so happy about that.
Right.
You guys are doing a nice job with your analysts out there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Dangote is a blessing to Nigeria. You see, the problem of business in Nigeria are the middlemen. You see, these middlemen, they serve as a cog to the progress of the ordinary people. When Jafaru, military governor of Kaduna State, one former military governor, he producers of goods, and he he made a store in Kaduna, they call it Kaduna PLS, where middlemen were out of the system, the advertisers were out of the system. So this store deals directly with the consumer. And so these middlemen who act as a cog are out of the system. And that is what DANGOTE is doing. Get these middlemen out of it. Give directly to the consumers, so the petroleum stations, and they will give directly to the consumers. This will make the petrol price to come down, so that the average Nigeria will be able to access this thing cheaply. You see, NNPC, just as L5 said, if we don't kill NNPC will kill Nigeria, and that's what is happening. They fought DANGOTE to stand still, but DANGOTE prevailed. And I keep on praying to prevail against them forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Awusko. I hope you'll join me in the evening on Matters Arising, 8 to 9. Awusko, I hope you are watching, you're still listening. Join me on Matters Arising from 8 to 9. Thank you. Now, you know, he just re-echoed what you said when you said that a lot of the problem we're having is from middlemen. And that the real people who invest take just a little return, but those middlemen will now pile it up to the point where it becomes difficult for the average man on the street. Can't we deal with that? Can't we deal with that? After this call. Hello? Hello?
Hello, this is just one something back.
Santuraki, you really mean business. Let's hear you.
I mean business, of course. Please, I heard what my learned professor has said, but I want him to either he likes it or not. DANGOTE will be a sole player, and that is what I mean by monopoly. Ultimately, at the end of the day, DANGOTE is going to be the only sole player dispensing PMS in Nigeria, whether one like it or not, and that is the monopoly I'm talking about.
Why are you so sure? Why are you so sure that this is the way to go?
Yes, I'm so sure. Who is DANGOTE? DANGOTE is a businessman. What is the ultimate aim of a businessman? Is to make profit.
Yeah.
In fact, quite recently he said he's going to deliver. He brought about 4,000 distributing petroleum, and even make it that if you buy 500,000 liters of petrol for him, he with bank guarantee is going to give you on credit 500,000 liters. Please, my beloved Prof, if DANGOTE is not trying to make money, will he do that? Is that not a monopoly? Let us do ourselves a justice. Monopoly or no, DANGOTE is the sole player and is the only person that will play this game. And that is monopoly. My learned professor, I have my case.
All right, thank you, Santuraki. Well, that's your position, and yeah, you are entitled to your position. But the truth is, like Prof said a while ago, he really broke it down. This person you are talking about, trying to be, that you say will be a monopoly, doesn't even have petrol stations of his own. As we speak, there are modular refineries that have been licensed. So what the fixation is about DANGOTE becoming a monopoly is very funny. It's very funny if you ask me. And I'm not going to start stressing any of my guests over that because I think so much information has been put out there. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
You're welcome to Kaftan TV, the polity.
Okay. I'm Bernard. I'm calling from Delta State.
Bernard, right?
Okay. I'm even by my TV now. What I see about this DANGOTE price changer policy, I think it's one of the best things he has done. Because without opposition, you will not go forward. It is left for Nigerian government to make their refinery work. It will not be 4 against 1. 4 of Nigerian refinery going against 1 DANGOTE refinery.
I think if like one of the callers saying that the businessman is trying to monopolize the fuel now. If Nigeria have 4 refineries working, I don't see where one businessman will fight four refineries contributing to other refineries and other stuff. So to me, Dangote is a blessing to Nigeria. That's my take in it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Bernard. By the way, let me just chip this in. Every single time this program is on air, you have over about 2 million people who are watching. It's a good place to put your advert on. It's a good place to put your advert on. It could be advert of bottled water. It could be whatever it is that is your product or your service. This is a good place to put the advert on because you will be having premium audience. And as you can see from the people who are calling us, you'll be talking about people with the authority and need. In marketing, there's what is called a man with the authority and need, M-A-N, the man with the authority and need. You are most likely going to be advertising to people who can afford your service and who, at every single opportunity, your product is going out to millions of people. And so I challenge you to be the first to bring in your product here. We await you. You can use the number after the program to get in touch with us. Let's take this so that we can take everything together. Hello.
Hello.
You're welcome to Kaftan TV.
Hello. I'm calling from Kainji, Niger State.
Yeah.
I'm Kayem Bilia.
Kayem
I
Bilia.
want to contribute to the problem. Because Dangote is a very, very nice businessman in this country. We Nigerians, we should be happy that we get somebody like Dangote. If they follow this, our government of Nigeria, as you people say from Obasanjo up to this time, everybody have parked his own car, machine. Maybe some are using bicycle or leg. Because they don't want to help any masses. They want to help their pockets. How many refineries we have? Is it not a shameful thing for government of Nigeria to say they are budgeting money since Obasanjo came to refinery? They are not able to repair that refinery. Dangote try to do refinery. Now people are accusing him. People come. It's a blessing to Dangote. God bless Dangote and bless the public of Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Now, let me speak to Umar Santuraki, who called in from Yola a while ago. I has even made 2 calls right now. It shows his interest. Now, you also are aggrieved that Dangote is providing credit facility for people. I don't understand that. And you're saying all that is targeted at becoming the sole player. Well, maybe Prof understands you. Maybe you are related to Prof. Hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Osas speaking from Warri Delta State.
Oh, Osas, let's hear you.
Yes. Dangote, I'm proud of him as a Nigerian. He's my brother, my father, a good philanthropist. So simply put, I followed up. I'm his good fan. I watched his. He visited Geneva. He did a speech in Geneva and Kigali. As if his refinery takes off, that is going to build fuel to 300 naira to his people. I have the videos. But what I'm trying to say, his hands may be tight. He meant well for the people, but you cannot spend 10 naira at cost of production, they're not going to sell 3 naira. Just a simple illustration. So what I'm trying to say is here, other marketers are really trying to frustrate the coupled with NNPC. So I just beg that the government should collaborate with Dangote to assist him, raise the cost of production and let the fuel price come down. He really meant well for the people, but the other marketers in connivance, they are trying to frustrate him. So I believe he will make things good for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Now, Prof, you're a prof. You probably understand. You probably understand the workings of the mind of Saturaki.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he's made his point, and you can't tell him not to make his point. Made.
Yes.
But the facts are what we are after.
Right.
Dangote is in the midstream, he's not in the downstream. He's just giving an option. He's a businessman, he's there to make profit.
Definitely.
But he doesn't want greed to stand on the way. And that's what the middlemen represent. I've described the stack of the 825 naira who gets what. And then here is the middleman wanting to get more than all the people that have invested down the line. And these people, you know, in oil business, you count their money in pennies. People get that. It's just like Shell and all these people. They tell you that, oh, they are selling this thing $80. Look, this person has $1. This person has $0.5. This, you will tell you. You see everybody that has anything. That's why when they buy equipment, they lease them, so that they put the price of the lease there. Not that they have the equipment that will take 10 years to do. No, they lease, so that in that they are $18. Everybody has 1 penny or $2 or $1 or $0.5 in there. Then you have a middleman that wants to get many times more than those who have invested their money to do the production, and who are the ones carrying the risk. Now, second point is that this is not a monopoly in terms of how it has been put out. It's an option.
Exactly.
If you like, you come along. If you don't like, fine. And I have advice to those who are still on the edge. If your business is gone down, your petrol station is closing down, or danger of closing down, please take a lifeline and keep your family and yourself in business. Don't, and this is not an exclusive thing. If you go and sign up and receive 500, it's only when you have money for 500,000, he will come and drop it for you. If you don't have the money, maybe you find 2 other people, you will share it. If you, they rather sit alone, because if I'm a petrol station and I receive 500,000 liter, and I can't finish it before the next one comes, I will open another station next to your own, and your business is not coming back because mine is going to take it over. And I will open 1 or 2 in the village, so that the village people will get fuel. So it's a matter for you. It is a matter of life and death to your business. And I have another advice for those bad leaders who are leading the group that are making noise. Don't mislead them. Give them opportunity to have a lifeline to feed their family. You know, and all this money they are collecting as middlemen, you don't give it to them, because when you go to their station, they will tell you that, oh, the fuel they get, they only having 15 naira on top. So who makes all that money? It is the middlemen. Go to the stations, go to all the stations, ask them how much are you actually making in 1 liter. They will tell you that is 50 naira or 100 naira. They don't get any much more than what you think they're getting. But somebody else that is delivering it to them, that is so-called middleman marketer, are the ones
taking the bulk of the money. Hello? You're welcome to Kaftan TV. Hello? All right, yeah.
My name is Akan Mafi.
Akan, you're welcome, yeah?
I pay attention so much on Dangote issue of refinery.
Yeah, you've not told us where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Calabar, Cross River State.
Go ahead now.
All right. One thing I want Nigerians to know is that Dangote is a businessman, and anybody who has established a business is focusing on the benefit of whatever business is doing. So if Nigerians are so much focusing on Dangote, I think they should encourage the government to set up their own refinery that can bring down the price of PMS for consumers. Because I don't see anything that Dangote has established, even though he's getting those raw material from the government, and the Nigerian is hoping to see Dangote giving them the best product or the best price. So let Nigerians focus on government. Let the government set up refinery, and let government also do something, not to depend on independent marketer. It's not a good thing. So that's what I just want to say.
Thank you, Akan. Thank you, Akan. Now, let me ask, one of the things that government or NNPC or all of that have always used as excuse for why the cost of PMS or diesel keeps escalating is the fact that we were refining abroad. That cost
transportation costs going and
coming back.
And their margin.
And their margin.
Yes, you get 40% margin, and then you look at even the wholesalers, those dealers, they have their own margin when they do the calculations. They allow the margin, and these margins are based on a national price for high quality PMS. When they are getting the worst quality,
that they are bringing,
the worst quality that should be much lower. Maybe today we will begin see fire.
And Dangote have taken care of that.
Now, so I'm asking, now that Dangote is in the loop and is refining locally, shouldn't we actually be talking about a lot cheaper fuel? Since it's getting crude locally, it's refining locally.
Very small.
Oh, from what you said before.
And paying dollars to import.
So if he was getting the 560,
if he's getting 560, we wouldn't be having any argument here, because there would not be any need for you to import anything if they respect the PIA.
Wow. So a lot of all the problems we're experiencing are based on human factor.
Is the midstream and downstream authority that is supposed to be a regulator that is not doing its work. We don't know the quantity being consumed. So what you have here are paperwork of magnified figure, and then all the things that go into it. You don't know, you are not advising on the correct production capacity on the ground. And so you are imagining it and then issuing import license. You are not checking the value of what you are importing into this country. You are dumping things that are creating problems, environmental hazard, all kinds of problems in the country. And so where is it? Where is it?
All right, so this will be the size of the program today. I'm sure you have been very much enlightened. My friend Santoraki, I'm sure you've heard so much, and thank you everyone who has called from Niger, from Yola, from Awusko, from Kaduna, and every one of you. Thank you so very much. And I must really thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Emailer or
thank you for having me.
All right, so that I remember that. Thank you so much, Chukwunalu.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Dalo.
Yes, okay.
All right.
Yes,
and so at this point, we just want to say thank you for staying tuned to Kaftan TV. And it's bye for now, but tomorrow, same time, you can still, connect to the polity again. And please join me in the evening today for Matters Arising, where we talk about something else that will spark your interest. It's from 8 to 9. Thank you so very much. I expect that you will be there. God bless and bye for now. My name is Dayo Omogun.